In this video, we are going to be surviving in Pokemon Fusion White. Yes, this is a Pokemon ROM hack where you get to play with Pokemon fusions through White version of Pokemon. So, our challenge is easy. Try to make it as far in the game as possible, and that's pretty much it. Let's get started. And so, our journey begins, and we get to see this Scrafty and, I guess, Sableye fusion, as well as choose our character, and we have actually a Team Rocket outfit for whatever reason. Then we go over to Bianca, and we get ourselves our starter Pokemon. You cannot really see what they are in the background, but we decide to go for the grass starter in this case, which ends up being this thing. Yes, it's a fusion between Yangmo and Trico, which we nicknamed specifically Teemo from League of Legends. Then we gotta battle our rival Hugh, who's got himself the fire starter in this case, which ends up being the weirdest little fusion I have ever seen. We then use a flame wheel, which is just enough to get rid of it, because guess what? Having a little, I guess, in this case, fire ice type doesn't really work. But nonetheless, we defeat it, and we move on to the next thing. Then we make our way to the next route, and here we actually get rewarded with a nice little bicycle from this lady. Now that we're in the route, Bianca is showing us how to catch a Pokemon with her Gengar and Onix fusion against a Patrat as well as a Natu fusion, which is really strange. After that, we actually explore on our own, and we run into this monstrosity, which is a Zergtree and a Deoxys mashed into one, which has got to be one of the weirdest, most disturbing things I've ever seen, because look at the head of that thing. After that, we also run into an even more disturbing thing, which is a Lucario and a Golurk just mashed together into one. After that, Older actually finds us, and we talk to him for a bit before we head into the town. Now we're going to do a little bit of a side quest before we can make our way all the way into there to do the fast gym. Before we can do that, we have to, of course, go around, do some side quests, side missions, and take on a few youngsters, like youngster Terrell here, who just has a strange little Spewsly, which is the weirdest thing, and also has this weird creature, which is a Snubble and a Frillish thing fused together, which is just disturbing on the next level. I don't really know what to say, but luckily we get the burn on it, and then it goes and creates a bizarre area, which is annoying, but nonetheless, we just keep using Flame Wheel, which comes in really handy, and we get ourselves the dub. And so now we're going to take on our second rival battle against our rival Hugh, who has the strangest thing I've ever seen. It's a Greticate, so a Gredunt, I guess, with a Raticate Alolan form, specifically in this case, which is really odd, but after a while, after a few attacks against it, we do actually defeat it. However, next he has one of the strangest and most wacky things I've ever seen. It's Yamper and Psyduck in one. We do defeat this as well, and after this, we've defeated Hugh, and we can progress in the story. Then, for some reason, Janitor Orville wants to battle us with his weird Glalicki, which is, I guess, a Lickitung and a Mega Glalie in this case, which is a weird combination, I will be honest and say. However, luckily, we are able to also take this thing on and pretty much defeat it after a few hits as well. Then our tiny boy Teemo decides to actually evolve, and evolves into what I would say is a weird-looking combination of a Grovyle as well as a, not Yangmo anymore, I mean, just a middle-stage evolution at this point. Then we find actually our second Pokemon that we decide to capture, which is Dulliflame. Now, this seems to be a combination, as far as I can tell, of specifically a Dunsparce and a little bit of, I guess, a Venipede or something like that. That's kind of what it looks like to me, but either way, we do capture it, though. And then we nickname it Disnuts. Then we deal with one of these guys from Team Plasma who's stolen a Pokemon, and we just help it and save it. After which point, we then make our way to the school where Alder is going to have us challenge some kids. The first kid uses Poitherno, which is a Poipole and a Monferno fusion that we end up defeating after just a few hits. After dealing with that and getting done with those students, we then head outside and talk to a man, and then head over to the gym battle. So, it's time to take on Sharon, the first gym leader in this game, who's of course also going to have a bunch of fusions on him that are custom, and in this case, the first thing he's going to use against us is going to be this thing. It is a fusion between a Luxio, I think, and an Absol, so Luxel is pretty much, or Luxol is its name. We go right in for it, trying to do as much damage as we can. As you guys can see, we got Extra Sentry, which I forget should not be having any effect here, so we go back to using Flame Wheel. Unfortunately, we do end up losing Teemo at this point, which is unfortunate. As you will notice, this is actually one of those runs that I've done where my actual starter Pokemon ends up not even being my most strong Pokemon or most useful Pokemon. So at this point, we've taken out his first Pokemon, which means we're down to only a few left in this case. Next up is going to be this monstrosity, which is Electalos, which is, it's cute, I'm not gonna lie, but it's also kind of weird looking. So we go in with the Horn Attack, which does a bit of damage. The Fusion Bolt does come in, which does a lot of damage to us as well. However, it ends up missing the second time around, and our Horn Attack is just enough to get it right there. And now these nuts have leveled up to 14. Next is Bagros, Heracross, which is a, I guess, Bagon, and a, I'm guessing, I guess it's a Heracross? I mean, it's the weirdest thing ever. I mean, look at this thing. Nonetheless, though, we do end up defeating it, and that is our first gym badge in the pocket, ladies and gentlemen, and now we can move on to the next phase. We then talk to Sharon, Bianca, as well as the professor, and now it's time to head over to the next area for the next gym. We then happen to run into Roxy, who's talking to one of the people from her gym, I guess, one of the people that wants to become a captain and a film star. After dealing with that, nonetheless, we head over to her gym. We then take on one of her guitarists, Billy Joe, which actually is Billy Joel, interestingly enough, who has the Scratleon, which is a, I guess, Scrafty and Intellion mixed together, which, I mean, this one looks cool, but also very goofy. Either way, though, we do end up defeating it, and now it's time to take on Roxy. So, Roxy is the second gym leader we're going to be taking on, and this one was a bit of a worrying battle, I'm not gonna lie, because her team could be quite drastically different. So Roxy starts off with this thing, which is the pre-evolution of the previous Pokemon we saw, which was Luxol or whatever. So this is Shinxol, which is also a Shinx with an Absol, which, yes, I know, it is weird, but don't question it too much. Nonetheless, we go in here, we then try to use Giga Drain on it, which does go well for us, and we end up doing a little bit of damage. And for some reason, I forget again that extra Sentry is not going to do damage. As you may notice from my face, I was quite tired when I was actually filming this, so I did make a lot of unnecessary mistakes. The Fury Swipes, though, just almost take us out, but we survive it just barely, which is more than enough for us to get through this and take on Eevee, which you guys will see what this thing is. It's legitimately a Eevee and a Togetic mixed together. I mean, look at this monstrosity of a thing. It is cute, though. It kind of reminds me of what I would assume a flying type Eevee would almost look like in a weird way. Nonetheless, we go into these nuts, and these nuts going for the Horn Attack. Horn Attack is actually really strong and does more than enough to get rid of the Eevee. Next is Rotodude, which is a combination of a Geodude and a Rotom. So it's a pretty cool fusion. It's actually one of my favorite ones that I've seen early on in the game. It actually looks awesome, and I just in general think it's a cool looking design. Unfortunately, not all the fusions will evolve into something that looks like themselves, and some won't even evolve at all, I've noticed, so just keep that in mind. Nonetheless, she has now, I think, one Pokemon left, which is Budwick, which is, I guess, a Badoo mixed with a Litwick together, which is actually pretty cute, but I don't really feel like there's enough difference in this one from just the regular one. And ladies and gentlemen, after taking that out, that means we've gotten ourselves our second gym badge. Then battle this random youngster who has a fusion of what looks to be, as far as I can tell, right? It looks like a Toxel mixed with a Mew, which is just strange, but a pretty cool design, though. Then we deal with some story elements where we have Team Plasma once again making trouble and making it hard for us to get on the boat to get over to Castelia City in this case. So, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It's time to battle them together with the lads. In this case, Roxy's taking on one, Hugh is taking on one, and of course, we take on one Plasma member as well. And of course, who's it going to be if not a challenge by Team Plasma Grunt number 542 or some shit? Either way, he's got a Rough Ray, which, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know exactly. I think it's a Mudbray or something like that, mixed with a Rufflet. That's kind of what this looks like. Either way, it's level 17, so we go in with a Teemo again. Giga Drain is more than enough to get rid of it. And next up, he actually has a different Pokemon, which is a Golmeow, which is, I guess, a Goldeen mixed with a Glameow, which, this is honestly scary when you see it. I'm not gonna lie. Next is Gomantis, which I guess is a Goeta, whatever it's called. Like the weird little Pokemon that I don't really know much about it, together with a Fomantis. And also this one we do defeat, which means, ladies and gentlemen, we are now done with these lads, and we can move on to the next area. Also, we get Dragon Claw on Teemo as well, which will come in handy later on because we do have Dragon Dance, so it's a nice little combo to have right there. So yeah, we take on the Grunt, we finish him, and we move on to get to Castelia. But before that, I really just wanted to show you guys this thing, Sandsharp. We just battled a random lass in the area here, and see, she has like one of the coolest looking fusions ever. Sandsharp is a beast. I mean, look at this thing. It is epic looking. Either way, now it's our turn to get to Castelia City, which we get to, and honestly, this city looks majestic. It looks epic. I mean, seriously, one of the coolest things about Pokemon Black and White and those games back then is just that they looked, honestly, pretty freaking awesome. I'm not gonna lie. They looked just great for games that were more or less made with just, you know, sprites. So, yeah. Either way, we make it to the gym, and here we run into none else than Iris herself, who is just kind of looking around and trying to figure out what's going on with the evil team, which, of course, is Plasma in this case. And after figuring that out, she realizes, oh, they're doing something weird, probably in the sewers like they did back in the day. So we go down into the Castelia sewers together with our lad Hugh, and we team up to go and take on some Team Plasma baddies. And that's exactly what we do, because we find 2 of them, and these guys are here to liberate Pokemon. But guess what? We are about to stop them from liberating Pokemon the wrong way. We're going to liberate them the correct way. Either way, so it's a Plasma battle, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a double battle as well. What do these guys have, though? Well, their fusions are going to be quite something, I'm not going to lie. They've got a Rhygemite, I don't even know how to say that properly, and an Xano. So I don't really know exactly what all these are. I guess the Rhygemite is a Rhydon, I guess, or Rhyhorn in this case, with a Magnemite. An Xano, I don't even know what that is. An Execute and a Dano, I guess that's possibly what it was. Then they also have a Volplussel, which is a Volbeat, I guess, and a Plusle, and a Sinisprite, which I guess I'm going to assume is a Mesprit and like Sinisage, whatever you want to call it, as well, mixed together into one, which, yeah, we run into a bit of trouble in this battle, as you may notice. We have to switch over into these nuts again, and as you may notice here, these nuts are getting stronger. I mean, they are pretty much becoming our strongest Pokemon, and along the way, we actually did capture ourselves another Pokemon for the team, which I have yet to mention much. One of these Pokemon is Ledicho, which is, I guess, a Chimecho as well as a Lediba together mixed into one, which we capture, and then we nickname it Lightning MC, or Lightning McQueen was the original plan, but nonetheless, Lightning MC it is, ladies and gentlemen. We also then capture the strangest looking thing ever, which is Darbuskin, which is a Dartrix and a Combuskin mixed into one. And also previously I did mention that we caught another Pokemon, which as I mentioned was actually Litboy, one of our other fusions, which I think was a fusion between a Stoutland as well as a fusion with a Incineroar actually, so that was a weird one. Either way, we do catch Darbuskin here and add it to our team, and then we nickname it Big Bird because it makes sense. We then do a little bit of grinding before we take on the gym, and guess what? Our boy Lightning MC actually ends up evolving, and we get ourselves a brand new Pokemon in this case, which ends up being a beautiful fusion between a Legion as well as a Lantern. And so, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to take on the next gym. It's Berg, and of course he kicks off with a Scrazzle, which is the reverse of, I guess, the Scrafty. Then he also has a Litzaman, which is, I guess, Zamazenta or whatever, with a little Litleo or whatever. He also has a Malatowl, which is a, I guess, like a weird mixture between Noctowl and whatnot. So, yeah, we get this one too with these nuts. And then he kicks off with a Munkoth, which I guess is a Munchlax and a Slackoth. So, yes, there's a lot of really weird fusions, but the strangest one's got to be this last one, which is Rune Rapple, which is a Runregis and a Flapple mixed into one, which are from Gen 8. So, yes, there are Gen 8 fusions in this as well, as you may notice. And right here is Litboy, our actually strongest Pokemon in the end of this run, which you will notice. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, we end up getting ourselves the gym badge, and that is the third one. Now we go over and we talk to Colress, who's just telling us to battle him, or whatever, or just interact with him. And at that point, we go over to this route where we end up running into a bunch of Crustle and whatnot, and he helps us get rid of him. And then we go to the plaza, like the kind of area where you can build your own shops and stuff. And here we just go through it quickly, moving on to the next place. Now, when we get to the next city, we run into Rosa, who needs some help taking on the subway bosses, and that's exactly what we help her doing. Ingo and his buddy here, or Emmett, I guess in this case, are going to be taking us on, and we're about to beat them real good, because these guys, I mean, yes, they do show up in Legends Arceus as well, and they were pretty difficult back in the day, but in this case, they only have one Pokemon each. One of the coolest things, though, is Raiga, which is basically a Rayquaza and a Dialga mixture, and also Chikargo, which is a Shuckle and a Macargo, which is really strange, but either way, we have our D's nuts out, and she's got a Sunno, which is a, I guess, either Sunkern plus Ho-Oh fusion, or it is a fusion of Castform and Ho-Oh, which I'm not really sure which one it is, but nonetheless, I do think it's a Sunkern. Either way, though, we keep using some of our moves here, which you guys may notice these nuts are getting really strong. They're really useful. They go for Silver Wind on us, but they pull in a Delphivar, so Rosa pulls out that, which is a Delphox and a Gardevoir fusion. We then have a option right here. We, of course, have Giga Drain, we have Thunder Punch, but we also have Horn Drill, or Horn Attack, sorry, which we use against the Chikargo, and eventually an attack from the Delphivar actually is enough to take it out, and now we are wondering what to do, so we go for a Thunder Punch on the Raiga, but we then quickly switch that into a Horn Attack, which is more than enough. The Inferno doesn't do a lot of damage to it, though, which is interesting. However, the Burn does come true, which is awesome, and then we just have to do a Flame Burst here, which doesn't do anything. Inferno just does a little bit, but the Burn does take it out, and these nuts survive on such a sliver of health, and we take out the subway bosses, Ingo and Emmett. So yeah, they're actually pretty cool characters, and I do like that they sort of brought them back in Pokemon, you know, Legends Arceus. Either way, after doing this, we then run into this lady, which we have to talk to, and she just wants to battle us, but she's got one of the coolest looking looking Pokemon I have ever seen. It is a fusion between a Naganadel and a Beedrill, but a specifically Mega Beedrill. And we do defeat this one too, and then we go on a nice little Ferris wheel ride with this random character, girl, person. I don't know, it's really odd. Then inside of the radio car, like, arcade place, we go inside and we take on a random, like, lass girl or beauty lass, whatever you want to call it, a KATY. So she's got a Duodur, which is a really weird looking thing. I'm not a big fan of this one, I'm going to be honest, but nonetheless, we do take it on with the Thunder Punch, which is a one-hit KO from our beautiful Nuts. And then we have ourselves an Empodra, which is a, I guess, if you want to put it in layman's terms, it is a fusion between Empoleon and, I guess, a Seadra of sorts. That's kind of what it looks like, at least to my eyes. And then we go into Lit Boy, which I wasn't really sure if this was the smartest move, because Lit Boy is actually a fire type. However, it was enough because, of course, this thing does have the steel typing as far as I can tell, and that was more than enough to get rid of it. Then Shinderu is coming out, which is, honestly, I have no clue what this thing is. It is the weirdest looking thing in this whole game, and I had no idea what this fusion was meant to be. Like, I legitimately could only see, like, maybe a Duskull type-esque design in there, but the rest I just couldn't recognize. Like, it's all just kind of mixed together. So if you guys know what this thing is, let me know in the comment section down below. What do you guys know what that is? But either way, after taking that lad out, we then also had the ability to get the move Captivate, which we decided to not actually get. And yeah, we pretty much defeated this random lass. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to take on the next gym. And in this case, it's going to be a hard gym. We actually ended up kind of failing a few times on this one, I'm going to be honest and say. We get a free freshwater, and then it's time to battle. So, one of the first people we take on is one of these female trainers inside of here, and she's got an Exploboom, which is a kind of fusion between Exploud and, of course, Rillaboom, which I think looks sick. It's one of the coolest looking ones in the game. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to find it anywhere in the wild while I was running around in the initial playthrough, so I did have a bit of trouble with that. Next up, though, is Rosalure, which this is a Chandelier and a Roserade that are just mashed together, and oh my lord, this looks freaking fantastic. Like, seriously, it just looks amazing. So either way, we go into these nuts, who do have a few moves that will come in handy. Of course, as you guys know, the Thunder Punch is pretty strong here. The Paralyze comes in, which is really handy, as it will be paralyzing it and stopping it from hitting some of those moves. As you may notice, it does do quite a bit of damage. However, these nuts are only a normal type, so they will be able to take a lot of the hits, and we do defeat her. So now it's time to go and take on the next person, which is this lady right here. And she, I think, has quite a bit of a difficult team as well, or at least a cool-looking team. So, Beauty Ampere, which has a really amazing Steelix, as you may notice, a Steelar, which is basically a Gengar and a Steelix fusion. So we go in for this one with Bug Buzz. It doesn't do a lot of damage on Lit Boy, so we decide to maybe switch over to a Flamethrower, which does do more because of the obvious Steel typing on this thing, which is great. So we get rid of the first one, but also Lit Boy gets up to level 35, which is awesome. Then a Glaciectric is coming out, which is a Glaceon and a Mega Manectric that are fused together as well, and this is a cool-looking design. However, due to the Ice typing, it is again a one-hit KO from our boy Lit Boy. And then is this monstrosity. It is a Dodrigutor. Oh my lord, I can't even say these names. Nonetheless, this is a fusion between a Dodrio as well as an Exeggutor, and we do get those two. And then we're able to actually get Substitute, which I decide actually could be useful. So we decide to get rid of one of our existing moves instead. So Fiery Dance is gone, and we got Substitute. Next up is Magusaur, which is a fusion between, I guess, a Magmortar as well as a Venusaur. And there's actually another Venusaur, fusion in this game that has Venusaur as the main body. This one, of course, has Magmortar as the main body, but nonetheless, we do get the W there too, and now we can take on the gym leader. So, Alessa, of course, is going to be the gym leader we're taking on, and her team is quite interesting. One of the first things she has is actually a fusion between a Crawdont as well as a Toxicroak. So, it's a bit of a weird combo, but after a bunch of flamethrowers, we do end up actually defeating this thing, which is awesome. Next up, though, is a fusion between a Golisopod and a Grimmsnarl, and same thing here, we get the one-hit KO with the flamethrower, which is awesome and fantastic. So, we've defeated that one now. Next up is the Toxtricity and Mewtwo fusion, or Mewtwo Y fusion, actually, as you may notice. We do defeat this one as well after a while. However, we do end up losing Lit Boy and these nuts, which is unfortunate, but is not the end of the world. The Rosalure is coming out next, and we do have Light MC, which comes in with a little bit of a close clutch right there, which is awesome. However, we do end up losing this bad boy later on. So, we have to use our Big Bird, who comes in and gets rid of the Permadan. So, yeah, yeah, there you go. The Persian fusion is gone, ladies and gentlemen. We got ourselves another badge, which is exactly what we needed. And now we're able to actually go out into the world and do a little bit more leveling. So yeah, we got TM72 Bulldoze as well, which we don't end up actually using. However, it doesn't really matter. Once out in the wild, we do run into some Team Plasma Grunts who are doing some no-no stuff and doing some bad stuff. So we got to battle them, of course, as per usual. And that's exactly what we do. We take on the Plasma Grunt, who has a Lycanator, I guess Lycanator N, which is a Lycan Rock. And I guess, I really can't tell what the other thing actually is here. I'm guessing a Staraptor almost sort of type of deal that's going on. It is a very strange fusion, to be frankly honest. However, after some damage from Lit Boy, we do get rid of it. And then Must Form is gone. So the Myrna, Masherna, whatever, and Cast Form fusion is lit and let up and gone. Then we have Liville. So this one is a Liepard and a Mawile. We get rid of that one too, meaning we are done with the Plasma Grunts. Out in the wild, though, we run into one of these breeder people. And this lad right here, April's got an interesting team. An Ampharina, so it's an Ampharos and a Primarina in this case, fusion, as you may see right there. I do think it looks pretty cool. I do like the ear addition and whatnot. I'm not really sure what to do right here in the beginning, but we decided to just go for the moves right there, Dragon Claw. Then there was also this Giratina fusion, which just looked sick. And then there's also a battle against Lady Nicole, who has a Lux Roll. So Lux Roll is a Luxray and an Absol fusion, and this is the coolest one like I've seen here. So this is genuinely one of the coolest fusions I've ever seen. Big Bird is the one who actually ends up defeating this lad, I think in this case, after a few thigh shocks. As you may realize, Big Bird is kind of a strange Pokemon, but it does come in handy, and it's able to do its job once in a while. Sometimes it's not really the most useful Pokemon, and at the end we end up actually not even evolving it, which I do think is unfortunate. So I would recommend you guys check out this game on your own to maybe do exactly that. Nonetheless, after defeating that, she also has a Thunderdos, which is a Thundurus and a Zapdos mixed into one as well. And holy moly, this thing is incredible looking. Like seriously, look at that thing. It is a beast. However, Lit Boy is strong enough to defeat it, and after another Heat Wave, I think we pretty much got the W right there, leaving pretty much nothing left there. However, we do have this guy to battle next, and he's got himself just about 2 Pokemon, so it's not really the end of the world. So yeah, Ranger Richard's not going to be the biggest deal in the world. However, he has an Aromarine, yeah. So basically, this is, I'm not even going to try to guess what this thingy is. I mean, look at it. It is just the strangest looking creature I've seen in a while. However, the Flamethrower is enough to get rid of it in one hit KO, leaving 1 more Pokemon left in his team, which in this case is not going to be much of a difficulty either, because it is the coolest looking Flygon fusion I have seen. I think, as far as I can tell, it's a Vileplume mixed with a Flygon, and yeah, I just think it looks cool, man. It looks really awesome, and we do defeat it, so we're done with the Ranger, Richard, and now we can move on into the cave. Now, inside the cave, we actually find ourselves another partner Pokemon to add to our team, which ends up being the Azaltress, which is basically a fusion between, as far as I can tell, okay, as far as I can tell, it is a Zapdos and a Moltres, as far as I can tell. So it's the, specifically, I guess the Galarian versions of them in this case. So we go in with the Great Ball, which is perfect, because I do think we end up getting it right here on the first try, which is sick. So once we got it, we added to our team, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, look at this. It's only a flying type, though, which is unfortunate, but it is, you know, not the end of the world. So yeah, I mean, at least we got it, so that's good. And I do think we call this one just simply Bob. So, after Bob has been added to our team, we go and deal with some of the Team Plasma grunts that exist, or at least some of the old people from Team, Plasma in this case, who are just going to be challenging us so we can, earn their respect, more or less. Now, this lad kicks off with a fusion between Raikou and Entei, so Raitei, which is a pretty cool-looking Pokemon. It does have pressure, so that's going to be a bit annoying. Either way, it just goes for Splash, so that's kind of handy for us, because if it's just going to be using Splash, we're actually able to defeat it. So, that's actually pretty great. I'm not going to lie. I was getting a bit, sus here. I was like, oh, why is it not attacking me with anything else? Why is it only using Splash? But after a bunch of the horn attacks and whatnot, it actually doesn't matter, because we do end up defeating it, leaving pretty much us in a favorable position. So next up is the strange fusion between Alolan Marowak and, I guess, Kadabra, which looks pretty awesome. After defeating that thing, he also has a Sleelar, so another one of these Steelix and Gengar fusions, which we end up defeating using our Light Lightning MC here in this case, or Lightning McQueen, as I like to call him. Either way, after that, the win, we get ourselves through this little story element, and then we move on further in the game. So, at this point, we're about to take on the next gym, and this one's going to be a doozy one. So, first of all, we take on one of the grunts here, or one of the trainers, who kicks off with a fusion with an Arcanine and a Ninetales, which we defeat. Then there is Rainadur, which we also defeat using our boy Litboy. Then there is Decidueye, which is a Decidueye and Blaziken fusion, as well as Sir Ugly, which is, a Purugly and a Seaking. After defeating them, we take on another grunt as well. This lad right here has himself a fusion of a Haxorus and a Charizard, which I thought was really awesome, so I just had to find this later on, but either way. So, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time to take on Clay, the gym leader, who kicks off with a Scargoose, which is a Zangoose and a Skarmory fusion. We take that on, and this thing keeps just using Dig all the time, which is honestly really freaking annoying. However, it does hit us. We go for the Blaze Kick, which does a lot of damage, and hopefully we can get that second Blaze Kick. However, the Hyper Potion comes in. However, the Blaze Kick does the job, and we get rid of it. Then we have the Indeednu. So this is, I don't even know what this is. I'm gonna be honest. I know it's an Indeedee or whatever, but I don't really know what the other thing is. I'm just kind of lost on what I'm looking at right here. Either way, these nuts do lose to this, the Indeednu, so that is unfortunate. However, we're going to Teemo, which does get it with the Giga Drain, which is perfect. Then we got a Wachu, which is, I guess, is a Watchog, and a Zatu or whatever used together. We got Litboy coming in, dealing the kind of killing blow on that one. Then we have Dunungus, which there's also an Amoongus Pokemon in this game, which I don't really remember having any footage of. I don't think I recorded when I was grinding and when I found one, but nonetheless, just know there is one in the game. If you find it, let me know in the comment section down below. After this, we have now gotten ourselves another one of the badges, which means we are one step closer to finishing this journey. We need just 2 more badges to get this done and dusted. So we're making our way all the way towards the end right now, and we got ourselves one of our last few badges. So now let's go and take on the World Tournament. So this is something you have to do in the story, and actually, interestingly enough, we end up taking on a Colress here, who's got himself a 3 team of Pokemon. Of course, that's what you have to use in this case, so that's what we're taking on as well. So he kicks off his team with this Rhinazon Mew fusion, which is a Magnezone, I guess, with a Rhydon as well. And then he actually has a Tremo as well, which is the original starter Pokemon that we had, as well as a Weepole. So there's a Weedle and a Poipole fusion that are one together. And of course, here we go for another Flamethrower, which does end up taking it out. And we have now gotten ourselves the W against the World Championship Tournament. So next up, we are over here in the next city for the next gym badge. Of course, we had to do some story elements with Professor Juniper in this case and Skyla, who are going to be dealing with some weird elements of the story. However, we're not going to be dealing with that. We're just going to go and take on Skyla right away, because her team is pretty spicy, ladies and gentlemen. First up is Urshifu, which is an Urshifu and a, Hitmonlee, I guess in this case, together in one. And we go for multiple flamethrowers until we actually get rid of it. Then comes in the Tornazion. Now, this thing was the worst thing ever to deal with. We had such a hard time defeating it. However, luckily, these nuts are strong enough to get rid of that too. And then we got the Heliozzel, which is, I guess, a Helioptile or whatever, as well as a Salazzle together. Then we go into Bob, who does have a few of these moves. We go for Retaliate, which I thought would do enough and actually get rid of it, but it wasn't enough. So Big Bird has come in next. Teemo does actually come in as well. However, we have to use multiple revives and whatnot to actually get our team back into a position where we can actually win this. I'm not going to lie, this battle did take more than one try. It actually took a while to get this one done, which is why you can see that I'm going to get a little bit tired in my face over there, because I had been at this point playing for multiple hours, because this game is difficult. Actually, the base of this game, as far as I'm aware, is actually, I think, Volt White, which is a more difficult version of Pokemon White, or Volt White 2. I think that's what this is based on. I could be wrong, though. Don't take my word for that one, but I do think this is based on a slightly harder one. Then there's also Palomuck, which is a Palosand, as well as a giant big old muck. So that fusion was weird, but there you go. Skylight is defeated. We got ourselves another badge, which means we have just a few more to go, ladies and gentlemen. We've got 2 more to go, actually, and that's exactly what we're about to get our hands on. So after this, we go over and talk to the Professor and Skyla, as well as Bianca, because we're about to take a big old plane to ride that bad boy over to the next city. And I'm gonna be honest, I do love these cutscenes. This is one of the things that actually, the Gen 5 games did really great, is all these little weird cutscenes, which, of course, the games before that didn't really have much of. And if they did have it, it was only like one thing in one event ever. But I did like the fact that every time you kind of arrive to a kind of a city or whatever, or an area, you do get that. Either way, now we're inside of the cave here with, of course, Bianca. We do some stuff in here. We don't find, of course, like, you know, Heatmore and all that in here. We're not going to really, Heatran rather. We're not really going to find that in here, of course, because that's just, you know, later on in the game, not right now. Nonetheless, we go through the cave with her, and after that, we've now been able to take on a few different people. One of the people we take on is this kind of ace trainer duo. One of them, of course, has a weird fusion, Ride Ninja, or which is a, I guess, Raichu and Shedinja, as well as the weird Giratina fusion, which just looks weird and crazy. We also get Shadow Force now given to us for our boy Teemo, which we do give to him, and then there is the Rotom Lem. So this thing is crazy, man. So as I already mentioned, this is kind of the evolution of a previously mentioned the Geodude fusion that we saw earlier in the game. And now, of course, there is also the weird Cursula, as well as you know, like, I guess a Abomasnow fusion, which we get rid of very quickly because it is an ice type. So just, you know, ice grass type. So a singular just fire type move with the flamethrower there is getting rid of it. However, this is a weird one. So it's a Feraligatr and a Garchomp fused one in together, and we defeat that one too. So the ace trainers are done and dusted, ladies and gentlemen, and now we can finally get out of this bloody cave, which was pretty annoying to deal with. But once we're done with that, we move on to the next place, which is to take on Hugh in this city. He kicks off with the Palo Muck, which we've already seen before, as you guys are aware. That thing, we kind of sweep through it after a little bit, took a few hits to get rid of it. Then we got the Glymega, which is a Gligar and a, well, Yanmega in this case fusion. We do end up defeating that, I think, as well, you know, as well after a while. It did have to use a few Hyper Potions in this case to get rid of it, which is unfortunate. However, after a few more hits from these nuts, we do get rid of the Glymega, which honestly, man, it was so annoying with the non-stop digs. It is seriously the most frustrating thing in the world. But after a while, we're able to actually defeat it because Litboy comes back in, and after a few flamethrowers, this bad boy is not going to survive any further. Also, I got really angry here because I wanted to use Earthquake when he was like using Dig, but it just didn't work. So that kind of annoyed me. I was like, logically it should, but it doesn't. So then we also got the Goodragoon, which is, I guess, a Goodra mixed together with a Obstagoon in this case. We get the Burn on that one too, which does do quite a lot of damage mixed together with our flamethrowers and whatnot as well. We got this Cogistorn, which we get rid of, and the Chestnut, or I guess the Chestnut and Samurott fusion. After that, we defeated them. We make it back to the city, and we got to deal with Plasma again here. These guys, of course, got themselves a double battle against us. They've got the Magnedrio as well as the Driffybuzz fusions. We defeat these very quickly as well, though. So, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time to take on the city gym. So this gym is a Dragon-type gym. Normally, of course, since this is a, you know, fusion game, there's going to be chances that the things we run into are not going to be the same we used to. So either way, a Dragacruel is the first thing, which is the actual evolution of one of the Pokemon we have, which is the exact same one as this. However, at this point, we also have caught ourselves Cooper, which you may see right here is actually a, I could be wrong here, but I think it's the Kyurem and Cobalion-like fusion that we have, which we caught earlier. We got Draco Meteor coming in on our boy Teemo, which is very nice. So we switch into him actually at this point, and we have the Delphivore against us, which we end up, I think, losing to in this case, or at least losing Teemo to, and then we switch over and the Flare Blitz does not kill us, which is great. After this, we have another battle inside the gym before we can take on the gym leader, which this one has the Reunitom, which is Reuniclus, I guess, with a Rotom, which looks pretty cool, actually. I do think they match well together. There are some of these fusions that really match well together, and some that just do not stick well together, and they just look a little bit off, if I'm going to be honest. However, after a while, we get the res up back on our Litboy, and we can go back in. We got a Octillery and a Victreebel together, and I actually again think this one looks pretty sick. Cooper does come in handy. Again, super awesome to have this thingy on the team. We got Sentidos, which is a Sentiscorch mixed with the Gyarados. Also, again, a really cool looking fusion. However, after a few hits, it is gone as well, meaning it's time for us we're just about there to take on the gym in a few seconds. However, first of all, one of our Pokemon, actually the Pokemon we caught specifically that we just saw a second ago, which is a Scracool evolved into Dragacruel. So now we have a Pokemon for surfing. That's specifically the reason we got it, which is why I didn't really mention it. Next up, we got Drayden with his Lopunny fusion right here, which I really do not like that much because it's basically a fusion of a Lopunny as well as a Cinderace. And then we have Clefable as well as a Gengar fusion, which, yes, that is playing into the old theory that Gengar and Clefable are actually kind of the same Pokemon in one way or another, or Gengars are dead Clefables, if you want to call it that way. Either way, we also have Aceton, Tom, which is an Ice Cube with a Rotom as well. And of course, at the end, we have the Heat Rant. And this thing, this thing was pure hell. I'm going to be honest. This thing, to defeat it, was pure hell. We couldn't hit it with anything. I didn't really have a lot of water-type moves or anything along those lines that were really strong. Our only water-type moves that we did have weren't even that strong. And we had to go into Tornazion, which is another Pokemon that we ended up catching. We actually got all of the, the 3 legendary, I guess, horses, if you want to call them that. We got all those lads. At which point now, which we've gotten ourselves the, I guess, 7th badge, we're now dealing with Team Plasma blowing things up in the city, or freezing everything, rather. So now we got to deal with them as well. So at this point, we got Team Plasma in the city. We've got to battle all these guys to, stop them so the Shadow Triad and them can't get their hands on the DNA Splicer. However, the Rhynor is the first thing we go up against this person, and this thing is just a weird fusion, I guess, of a Dusclops or Dusknor with... I don't really know what the other Pokemon was, to be honest, but nonetheless, we also have a Zorogon, which is a Zorua, and a Flygon, which we do defeat as well. Well, Zoroark in this case, rather, not Zorua. Either way, Zorogon is easily defeated as well, and at which point we now have defeated one of the Plasma Grunts, and we take out the rest of them too, running into the Shadow Triad member, and this guy has got himself 4 Pokemon. First thing is the Magisterio, which I guess is the Dark Magician, I'm guessing, from Yu-Gi-Oh! Mixed with Mewtwo, which I don't know what to feel about this. I don't know why this is in a Pokemon fan game, or ROM hack in this case, sorry. But I don't really know what that's there, but it's just there. So next up, we got ourselves this abomination. I'm not gonna lie, that thing was just weird looking. And then we do have a cool Pokemon though, which is Necronese, which is a fusion between I guess in this case a Xerneas as well as a Necrozma. So pretty cool looking, this one. I'm not gonna lie, it did do quite a bit of damage to us. I'm not gonna deny that. So we go for a few Sacred Swords, a few Thunder Punches and whatnot. However, we then switch into Teemo and we try to just do our best here. However, they do the U-turn switch out, and we now got to deal with the Tukapluff, which is a Toucannon fusion with a Jumpluff. So now we're going to use the Fusion Bolt, which does do quite a bit of damage. We go for Hurricane, which does hit. I'm going to be honest, Hurricane always scares me to use because of the fact that for some reason I just don't get lucky with it. I don't feel like I get lucky with that move. So now we just have our one lad left. So I decide, okay, well, we're not going to really survive this unless we heal up one of our other Pokemon. So at this point, we've got Litboy rezzed and healed up, ready to take this thing on. We go for it. We hit it with the Nature Power in this case, and now Necronese is the last thing. We go for Nature Power again, or actually Flamethrower in this case, which does do enough damage, and we are now up at level 66, and we've defeated it as well, which is bloody fantastic, ladies and gentlemen. And soon, our journey is about to get to its end. Now that we've dealt with Team Plasma here, we're almost there. We're almost there at the end right now. And why do I say this? Well, because we got to run through the giant tube and get to the last gym, ladies and gents. So now that we're in the last city, we do the little puzzle to get to the gym leader. I end up kind of getting a bit confused on this one, but I do think it's a cool looking gym. Honestly, it's a really colorful and nice gym, and I get that the lad is really into his whole fishing stuff. Either way, now that we're on him, ladies and gentlemen, Marlin is the last gym leader we're going to be taking on, and this lad kicks off with this thing, which is Venown, which is a Venusaur as well as an Unknown, and we take this thing on. It looks pretty weird. It does have a giant weird half eye in the middle, but we take it out after a while. Then we have this thing, which is a Loudred as well as I guess a big old toad lad. I mean, honestly, man, I don't even know Poliwrath in this case. We do end up losing Litboy in this case, so we switch over into Teemo, who should be able to do a bit more damage because of the fact that we have the Giga Drain. However, the Full Restore comes in, and the Frenzy Plant actually hits instead. The Tangwol is next, so this is a double as well as a Tangle, I guess, or what I guess a Tangrowth, whatever you want to call it in this case. However, we do end up losing Teemo, which gets us a little bit concerned. However, we do have Cooper with Icicle Crash, which can take this thing out, luckily, because it does seemingly have a grass typing on it, which means we should be more effective. Seed Flare, however, does take us out, so we got to go into Tornazion. In this case, we got Close Combat, which does quite a bit of damage, but not enough to get rid of it, so we go for another Close Combat. However, we don't hit that. We get outsped. Lightning MC, or Lightning McQueen, comes in next. We go for Hurricane, does get rid of it, which means we now have to deal with this thing, which is Septo, which this is the same Pokemon we have. This is our own Teemo lad, so that is unfortunate, but nonetheless, we do go for the Rezzes here. We get Litboy back up again. Now we can use a Flamethrower to get rid of it, but it doesn't do a lot of damage, unfortunately, which I thought it would do. However, Cooper comes in. We go for the Icicle Crash this time around, and we do hit it, which is enough damage, and we do take him out. So we got Swampede next, which is a I mean, you guys can already see what it is. It's a Swampert and a Scarlet, of course, fusion together. They do go for Shadow Force, which takes rid of, I guess, Cooper in this case. We go back into Lit Boy, and I don't really know what to use here, so I go for Tri Attack, which is from our Nature Power, then a Flamethrower, which at this point, the Paralyze is coming in perfectly. And ladies and gentlemen, we take out this thing, meaning we have defeated the last gym leader. And ladies and gentlemen, actually, this is going to be the end of the video. And the reason this is happening is, well, one thing. My save file after this point actually corrupted, so I never got to actually do the Elite Four, but I think that's perfect because then you guys can check out this game yourself and give it a try and give it a look, and also drop a like down below if you guys want to see more videos like this. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. If you did enjoy it, then drop a like down below, make sure to subscribe, and thank you all for watching, and check out Pokemon Fusion White 2. Check it out, give it a look, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.